Hey everybody, it's Jim Palmer, the newsletter guru, coming to you from my backyard. A very nice fall day here in Chester County, Pennsylvania. I was looking out my office window and said, that's where I need to record this episode. Listen, today I want to urge you to stop making yourself a commodity and stop having your customers and your prospects compare you on price alone. What you need to do is focus on how can you make it harder, how can you make it apples to oranges instead of apples to apples, and how can you find ways to deliver more value to your customers and your prospects. I want to share a story with you, something that I did way back in my bike shop days, and we sold a lot of bikes. We turned out we were one of the largest bike shops in the country. Now, if I told you some of the hot brands were Trek and Specialized, of course there was Schwinn and Raleigh, we had none of those. The brands of bikes that I sold were Fuji and Saint-Tropez and a couple other kind of no-name brands at the time. And how did I become one of the largest bike shops in the country? I'm going to tell you, and this is what you need to do. Put your thinking caps on and think, how can I do something similar in my business? What I did is I looked for ways that I could increase the value in the bikes that I was selling so that my customers would overlook the fact that they weren't the big name brands that were getting a lot of recognition. One of the things I did is I created our own company lifetime value guarantee. I said every single bike we sell, no matter what the manufacturer's warranty was, I said we are going to cover it with our own lifetime guarantee against any defects, any kind of defects whatsoever, materials, workmanship, parts and labor. We would cover it for life. Now, no other bike shop, none of my competitors were doing this. In fact, I was driving them crazy. I had one of my competitors who owned a large chain of stores, who I eventually went to work for, call me and said, Jim, what are you doing? How can you do that? I said, it's just something we're doing to come, that's our edge. He goes, you're crazy. I said, well, call me crazy. Here's my rationale, folks. I figure if there's a defect in the bike, if there's something that's going to go wrong with this bike, it's going to happen in the first 30 days, maybe a year, maybe even 5 years or 10 years. I mean, the manufacturers typically gave either 10 or 25-year warranty on the frame and 1 year in the parts. If it was defective, if they wrote it at all, it was going to happen within the time frame of the normal guarantee. So for me to offer a lifetime guarantee, it was a no-brainer because it never happened. Now, here's what I was thinking. If somebody ever came back 5 years, 10 years later with a bike and they said it was defective, well, I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to fix the bike, I'm going to make a customer for life, or I'll upgrade them into something new. In other words, I figured out a way to add incredible value to the bikes that I was selling, something nobody else was willing to compete with, and we sold a ton of bikes because of it. I actually had customers coming in the store and they said, hey, I don't know what I want, but John said this is the only place to buy a bike. Why do you think that was? Because we took care of our customers with world-class service, and we backed it up with something no other shop was willing to do, an absolute ironclad lifetime guarantee. How much did that guarantee cost me? Nothing. What can you do in your business to provide more value? It doesn't even have to cost a lot. When you think of in terms of how can I create more value, don't think of how much more is this going to cost me. Think of ways to make yourself different. Think of ways to set yourself apart so that your customers will come back over and over again. Customers for life, refer more, spend more. Find ways to create value. Find ways so that when your customers go shopping at your competitors and they say, hey, do you offer this? Or do you have a lifetime guarantee? Or what about this? They can't say, no, this is what we have. That's what you want to do. Make it apples to oranges, and make sure whether you're the apple or the orange, it's the biggest, fattest, juiciest apple or orange ever, and that will make it harder for your customers to buy somewhere else, all right? Stop competing on price, compete on value. Find ways to add super value to what you do so it's harder for your customers to compare, and you are going to sell more, all right? This is Jim Palmer, the newsletter guru. I'll see you next episode. Take care, everybody.